Welcome everyone to this webinar. And this webinar is about Microsoft Dynamics CRM for Enterprise. We'll be talking a lot about how you can increase productivity and profits using AI. So a lot of buzzwords have been there about AI. So we'll see a couple of examples and demos today. We have our speaker, Suzanne Schack. She is Dynamics 365 Enterprise Architect, Solution Architect with Captivix. So she'll be sharing a lot of insights, experience, and a lot of demos today. So we'll understand that, and it is going to be a very powerful session. There are a few things that I would like to tell you in this webinar. If you guys can choose to turn off your cameras and microphone, and because we are taking the questions in the end of this session, so you can type in your questions in the Q&A box that you'll find inside in your Zoom's options, and we'll be taking those questions in the end of the session. A bit about our speaker today. We have Suzanne Schack. As I told, she is like our Dynamics 365 Enterprise Architect solution with Captivix, having more than 25 years of experience. Suzanne has been helping other businesses and projects, both corporate and government. A bit about Captivix. Captivix is a digital business transformation company. We focus majorly on ERP implementation, custom development, AI implementations, and CRM implementation as well. You can visit our website, captivix.com, to get more. So without much ado, I would like to hand over this session to Suzanne. She can take it from here. So Suzanne, it's all up to you. So welcoming her, and yes, Suzanne, let's make it a powerful.
Welcome everyone. I'm gonna actually, if it's all right with everyone, I'm gonna turn off my video so I can focus not on how I appear on the screen, but on the tool itself. And I'm gonna share screen with you and begin the webinar. Okay. So if anyone could please confirm that you see the screen.
Yes, Suzanne, we can see your screen.
All right, so let's begin.
Yeah, sure.
So right now we are in the sales module. We're going to show you today both the marketing module and the sales module. We're starting in the sales module because the sales life cycle can function independently, and you don't necessarily need to have the marketing module to use the sales module. We have the sales module loaded up for data so that we could also show you AI, while the marketing module is a little bit different. So let's go ahead and take a look at the sales module. So when you log into the sales module, what you see is a sales dashboard typically. And in that sales dashboard, you see the items that you're currently working on. And depending on whether you're actually a salesman or a manager, you get a slightly different view. If you are a salesman, you're going to see your current leads that you're working on. You're going to see them charted out. You can break down any of these charts and drill down into them. We'll go over that in a minute. You typically see your recent phone calls that you've had, so you can basically know and remember where you left off, what's in your pipeline and your opportunities. There are numerous dashboards that give you a picture of what's going on, but this is the sales dashboard. If I'm a manager and I have numerous people reporting to me, I'm going to see this broken up by the people that report to me. So typically, if I'm looking at a specific work item, you open up that work item, you can always click Show All and go to a view. And this, when you do Show All, you're starting to get into also a little bit of AI, because what's happening now is we automatically jumped into the sales accelerator, and I've clicked on a specific lead. So because I've clicked on a specific lead, it's showing me what's happening next, what the score of this lead is, what we know about them, what the relationships are with them, what the most recent activities are with them, so that we can continue to constantly work the sale and improve the sale. In addition, we have our detail screen that shows us a description, the contact information, the company information, the description if we've entered one, and what their preferred contact methods are, that if we know them. Our relationships analytics take us in really, this combines our AI with our activities, and it gives us some predictability. So we can see that we've had 4 phone calls with them. So far, we've spent about an hour. It will take about 2 hours more to respond to the existing emails that are sitting and waiting for me. And my rate of response is 5% higher compared to the customer's rate of response to me, which means I have to do something to improve that. The relationship, this is AI telling me that over our interactions, the relationship is constantly improving because these statistics are constantly growing. So if you look at the chart that is offered from the AI, you'll see that from an email perspective, there's been 2 emails so far. There's been 2 meetings with the customer so far. There's been 6 phone calls so far. While in the other initiated by customer interactions, there's been 1 email, 1 meeting they asked for, and 2 phone calls that they made. So this is constantly keeping me aware of how we're doing, but it's also keeping us aware of the COG on this sale, the cost of doing business and the cost of winning the deal. And you can track the hourly investment. These are very modifiable to what we want to track as a customer. In our customer relationship, do we want to look at hourly investment? Some people often ask me to make this the investment against the total COG of the deal. And they don't necessarily want to look at it hourly. They want to sometimes look at it weekly. So that's something that we can do. Every aspect of the screen is customizable and modifiable. As far as emails, we are tracking not just that we sent an email. We're tracking how many of the emails we sent got opened, how many of the attachments, and how many times they actually clicked into a link in it. So we're giving a very detailed look at how we're doing with this customer. This is the send and receive ratio. And this is a day over day look at these ratios. Now, the interesting thing in Dynamics is you'll see here that you can typically hover over and get more detail. The detail displayed here is very modifiable. Right now, it's just showing us the quantity received. If we wanted to be able to highlight additional data in that detail, that's very doable. The other thing that you'll see on our lead is a relationship to other aspects of sealing a deal, so to speak. So we can look at the related marketing activities. We can look at the related connections. In other words, this company maybe has a relationship with another company. We can take a deeper look at everything that's changed by looking into the audit history. We can look at daily lead KPI items because we can measure the KPI. And a very important attribute is always the time spent winning a deal. This item is connected to a sequence. So let's go to another item in our work list so you can learn more detail about sequences. I'm going to disconnect the sequence so you can see it. There is a sequence for all new leads that is set up. That sequence is something we create and control. So when a lead is entered in the system as a new lead, we've created a sequence here that says we want new lead nurturing. So that means we want an automated email going out, establishing a relationship, possibly, or an automatic notification or an automated activity to one of our salesmen, so it shows up in their queue. And if we manually enter a new lead, we can either trigger that sequence automatically, or we can manually enter a lead and even create a sequence unique to the customer. And you'll see that that sequence, the new lead sequence, includes an introductory email, a reminder email, and setting up a call to the customer, a thank you email, and scheduling a meeting with the customer. That happens to be the sample sequence. Once those events happen, as you saw in our previous record, they show up in your timeline. So this particular customer is at a grade B. We know the decision maker. We know the country. It's being purchased in the next quarter, but we don't have any information about an estimated budget. So this tells the salesman what they have to work on and do improvements. Additionally to driving success in an individual lead like that, the way the interactions with the dashboard that drive our daily activities also work is in the drill down. So I can go into any of these tables and I can say, I want to look at my deals maybe by estimated value. And I want to see those estimated values maybe in a pie chart. So now I have 3 deals showing up. And they're showing up by source as well. So you can always also modify the filter that shows these attributes. So any one of these is drillable. And you can get down into very detailed reporting and attributes right off of the dashboard. You don't need to build a lot of custom reports. It's part of the life cycle. The other aspect, besides the drill down in the dashboard, is that the sales life cycle comes with calendaring, so that you can always look in a calendar what appointments you have, what are set up. When you set up an appointment, this interfaces with your Outlook, so that whatever appointments you have in your Outlook are blocked out here, and whatever appointments you have here wind up in your Outlook calendar, so that you don't have any question and have to be bouncing between Outlook and here to do your work. You can also take a look at your day-to-day activities that you need to be doing. And so we can see that I, as a salesman, have a pricing proposal that I'm working on that I have to have reviewed. And I have an open spec document that I need to work on. So those are my responsibilities and my tasks that I set up. And I can use this task board to move things around dynamically to show that I completed it. And what this is actually doing is going and closing the task as completed. You can also go into the task to close it if necessary, but it's a very dynamic relationship. And it's this is called the user interactive experience, so that everything we do here winds up being drag and drop. Likewise, one of the things, when a salesman breaks for a vacation or a holiday, if he wants to show himself where he actually left off and what he has up and coming, because the bulk of the life cycle of a salesman includes a lot of phone calls. So we've always give this call history view so that everybody can look at what they've done, what's up and coming, to be reminded of what they're doing next. Now let's look at our pipeline. In our pipeline, we have open leads that are assigned to me that need to be worked. I can always drill into one of those leads. And again, you'll see here that my lead score will show up. Any of the recent activities show up in the timeline. The lead score shows up. The relationships, who's a part of this company or who they came from, if they were a recommendation, show up. Stakeholders, competitors show up as well. And we are able to continue this through the life cycle. This lead has been active for 4 days. It's in the qualification process. Once I get the estimated budget in here, which is really important, and I get the purchase process, it could still be unknown. Typically, if I want to promote it, I really do need to know that it's a single person's decision or a committee decision, and I can move it to the next stage by either clicking next stage or doing what's called qualifying the lead. When I qualify the lead, I will click on this button to qualify it. What this is doing is it's automatically using AI, analyzing the data, creating the new records, creating the account and the contact record, and giving me an opportunity to say, hey, we're ready to do some quotes on this one. So it's adding quotes, it's adding products so that I can actually associate some products to it. If there's pricing, the system allows for client-specific price lists or generic price lists to be picked up. And it allows us to build our quote from here by adding products that are going to be part of the deal. The system has a product catalog. Typically, customers will integrate this product catalog with their ERP system, but they can also be uploaded. And it's as simple, again, as drag and drop and clicking buttons to get these items added to relational database. So now we can say, save these to the opportunity and start building the customer quote. Your price lists can be industry specific, they can be customer specific, they vary So I have my products in here. So let's build a quote for the customer. We'll add a new quote. So I did not, since I had already added my products, I did not have to add anything. So this quote is being prepared for the customer, and I can now say, look up address, activate quote. I can get products. I can automate processes that say, when you add certain products, add certain service charges or add certain estimated consulting charges, let's say. I can export this to a PDF, or I can activate the quote. And a lot of clients, when you click activate quote, create an auto send of the quote, or at least an auto create of the email that sends the quote for the salesman to verify and see if he wants to customize and add his 2 cents. Once creating the quote, I can also proceed. I've created the quote. It's been auto-generated and emailed to my customer. My customer has emailed me back that they're very interested. So I can do one of two things here now on this quote. I can go back into the opportunity and work it from there. I can, if I got an email back from the customer saying, I object to these prices, can you maybe give me a 10% discount? I can revise the quote from here. I can close the quote and create a new one. Everything is very interactive on this screen. Now the quote's been opened for edit, and I can again manipulate it. Or I can activate the quote. If a customer has emailed me and said, I'm all for this price, let's go ahead, I can activate the quote and go back to the actual opportunity that I was working. And there are several ways typically to get back to where you left off. There's always a link on the quote to the opportunity. I was only a screen away, so I hit the arrow. So now these, if we go back and look at our opportunity again, we can look at our opportunity summary. We would see in the timeline, and if an email came in accepting the quote, it would, since the quote was emailed from this record, the response would come right to this record. If there's an external email that went to somebody's Outlook, they'd be able to click on their Outlook and just click a button to link it to this record. So now I've won this deal or I've lost this deal. If I close it as lost, a screen pops up. That says, tell me why you lost it. And you get an opportunity to edit these values to say why you lost it. You either have lost the values that come out of the box is canceled and not sold. You can add any kind of value you want. You can list the competitor. In this case, for our example right now, I'm going to win the deal. Close it as one. any revenue on that was won from this deal would actually be written here, or I can edit it if it's not inherited. If there was a competitor I can beat out, it would be inherited here, and any description I want to add. These are not required fields. You can just close it as one because you can find all that data in the record. Now, there is a quote that's still open on this one, so I can't close it. The system does not let you make mistakes. I did that on purpose so that we could all see that this interactive system is assuring me that I can't make a mistake. And you can also automate the fact that the quote that I closed as one automatically close any previous quote in the system. It's a configuration point. It's not a complicated coding point. So I'm going to close this quote. Now closing this quote, I'll be able to mark the opportunity as one. The system protects you from making errors. And so that the data remains clean. Now we will close this as one. And again, I'll show you another way now to go back to the opportunity. Instead of using the arrow, it's a click away. And I will close it as one. And if there's anything else that the system wants me to do, it's going to tell me that there's still an active quote. So let's see why that is. Let's actually jump to another lead so I don't have to close out child records. I was just playing around with the quotes there. So instead of having to click into each one and close it, what I'm going to show you here is qualifying this one. You can also qualify multiple at the same time. So I'm going to just choose one for now. I'm going to say qualify. So now that quote is qualified as one, and it's no longer on our list. And you will see that now you have an active contact. All the related records have been generated. The account that I just won was auto-generated just by working the opportunity. That would be this one. Every module in Dynamics gives you resources so you can learn more about how it works and teach yourself how to use the system. That's pretty much the sales life cycle. I now want to take you into the customer life cycle. So what I'm going to do is, before I drill down in here, because this requires a little bit more setup, I'm going to bring over the introductory screen so you can see how I got here. So when you go into what's known as insights and journeys, that's your marketing module. In your marketing module is where you create the communications that go out. So we talked about emails, workflows, sequences that can be automated to do work for the client. You can create the emails here. You can create a journey. You can create text mail communications. You can plan events. You can plan a forum. You can utilize the support community and look at all the release notes about what's changing. So typically when you get started here, you get started by creating an email. In order to set up a journey, a journey is typically, I want to create a web page or an email or some way of letting people know we're here that's going to have an automated, interactive drip campaign that's going to take actions based on the number of clicks, opens of an email, for example, based on event planning, based on a web page that people fill out. Journeys can satisfy any of those needs. This is also drag and drop. So if there's any pre-made email templates that I want to use for this, they will show up in this screen. And as a result of them showing up here, I can select them. If I want to, and the marketing module takes a little bit longer for the initial screens to open, FYI, because it's going out and grabbing everything I've done before, and it's using AI to present me with tools that have worked for me in the past, so I can leverage them again. In this case, I'm going to skip the templates, and I'm just going to show you how easy it is to build one from scratch. It's again, drag and drop. So if I want to add a text here, I can add an image here even. Let's do an image. Let's start with image. And I can build out what this email looks like by dragging in images, buttons, creating a QR code, setting a divider, adding a custom HTML, or building external content and building a content block. And that results in the emails that you send. It is all drag and drop. As a result of doing that, you are going to wind up with emails that get sent in an automated that you can leverage in a journey. Now, the cool thing about journeys is that you have two ways to build a journey. You can build a custom journey, or you can use AI to start your journey. And they give you a lot of different examples that you can leverage to choose it. So if I'm going to send a promotional email targeting loyal members, the system can already go ahead, take what it knows about using AI, take what it knows about doing that. You select your segment, which is your audience. You can create a new segment. We're going to make it a test segment. It's going to be contacts. And you can use the query assistant and tell them, who do I want in this segment? Or you can just create it and build it on your own. So we've got 251 contacts if I don't limit this segment in, and I could limit this segment by looking at and say, I only want contacts that were created in the last I'm going to say few months. I can add more filter criteria. It can be a behavior from a previous segment. I can specify context to include and exclude. And I can say this segment's ready to use. So as this segment saves, again, every aspect of Dynamics is not just doing the save that you typically do. It's also passing the data to AI so that the next time I do this, the system can tell me, oh, you already set up a segment similar to this. Do you want to copy it and expand on it? So this is now a segment that's ready to use. Now I can use this segment to create a journey. I can create a copy so I can create all my filters and all my different type of segments, or I can edit the existing segment. I'm going to use it to create my journey. I'm going to say, okay, I'm not concerned that I can't come back to this page. I have two types of journeys I can make. I can make a journey that's trigger based on something happening in the system, like a submit of a form, an abandonment of a cart that it was filling, a purchase being made, a new status, a new lead score, there's tons of different types of way to do this. In this case, we're going segment based, where I chose records that I want to send to. Now I can select the frequency of this segment. I can make it a one-time journey, a repeating journey done monthly or done quarterly, however we want to set that up. And I can designate to the system, when do you want to start this journey? And click create. Some very important attributes. The system, again, protects itself from errors. And you can see we're in the process of building a journey. So the next step can be an action. And the action can be sending an email, sending a text, sending a push notification. This email or text might be to the salesman as opposed to the customer. It can be anything that's needed as part of this journey. This can create phone call activities. So if somebody clicked 3 times into an email, a journey can kick in and say, automatically create a phone call record on this lead or opportunity for a salesman. It can also be just an email to a contact from a purchased list that can automatically create a call center to call a marketing call center, let's say, to call out and make a phone call because somebody's already clicked 3 times into the email and that person can be called. We can respond to an action. We can create branches. We can do A/B testing. We can send messages specifically using AI. We can hold an action for 7 days. And let's say they click on a journey to complete a form and they haven't completed that web form, they leave it half completed. We can wait to see if they complete it in 7 days and then send an email or a series of messages prompting them to continue. So it's the marketing attributes that Dynamics offers in customer journey is very interactive. And we have an opportunity always to use AI and look at the in analytics related to marketing campaigns. We have not. The analytics, I will show you screenshots of. I've prepared screenshots for you. They're built real time from actually leveraging this. And I will show you a couple screenshots before we close out. But in addition to you looking at the analytics, you can always look at the triggers. So these are all the triggers that are previously set up for you when you includes bouncing delivery, includes opting out. It blocks emails so you don't get blacklisted. It's a very rich tool that covers anyone's marketing needs. You can also look, marketing has a much more difficult time than most other departments of organizations, because they have a harder time tracking their COG, how they impacted the sale. So marketing gets to look at the leads that have been generated, because the AI creates reports that show marketing's impact on the sale. The consent center is where contacts, email consent, phone consent. You can auto-gen opt-in emails just by creating them here. You can create, I was on the phone with a customer, they opted in, so they can do that here. You can create a link from a web page, or if you went to an event, you can actually import a consent list where they signed up from here. The channels include the emails that are being sent, the forms, the push notifications, and the text messages. You can also create social networking messages so that you create a new message and you can send it through a new channel, and that channel can be LinkedIn, it can be any of the social networks, Facebook, to actually interact and do the AI against it. What I'm going to take you now to is another environment where you can look at some of the rich dashboards. And while this is coming up, I do want to show you one more thing. It is very easy always to maneuver between your applications. So you can, with sales and marketing, you get what are called model-driven apps. And so your sales team member is going to be in the sales team member hub that we looked at. But if we look in here, in our sales hub, you'll see that you have an integrated view that lets you look at the life cycle all the way from its original marketing list and campaign through the opportunities. So it really depends on what app you're in. And some of the other dashboards that will give you a look at how you're doing is you've got your performance dashboards that come out of the box. You've got activity dashboards, you've got marketing dashboards. If you click on your sales hub and you go back to your customer insights, and you go back into analytics, you will see how AI is used to tell us how we're doing in our sales journey. And it really says who touched everything, what percentage, what the engagement rate was, what the push rate was, who left journeys and quit. And it gives you a lot of beautiful, extensive detail. So with that, I believe we want to leave a little time for questions. Do we have questions?
So we are open for questions now. If anyone has the questions, they can drop it in the Q&A. We'll be taking it one by one. So we have one questions coming in, Suzanne. So it's like we currently have HubSpot and we face challenges. How is this better? One of the participants is asking this. Can you answer?
HubSpot. So one of the beauties in Dynamics is it's drag and drop and it's very interactive. And HubSpot, while it's drag and drop, is less customizable for your needs. Dynamics is called Dynamics because it's considered really the modeling clay of the industry. When you go into a client and you start their work, you spend some time with them learning what their business is. And Dynamics is like modeling clay. Whatever your needs are, it's easy to model it and shape Dynamics to your needs. HubSpot requires a lot more customization to do that, and it's a lot less user-friendly. There's limits on things in HubSpot, like how you integrate data, how you share data. The definition, everything goes into HubSpot as a contact. And it's more of a flat database where it's saying this contact is hot and is actually a lead, but it's not actually taking it through a relational life cycle where it's easy for you to see when it was just a contact, when it became a lead, when it moved. You've got to really use reporting in HubSpot to do those kinds of things. So it's a richer, more dynamic tool.
Okay. So like we are trying to take a few more questions, Suzanne. We have another question coming in. So it says like, what is the typical implementation time to implement sales and marketing if we are just looking out of the box? So can you take this question and answer?
So, implementation time really depends on the company's need. If you're basically out of the box, probably, if you have to guess, it's probably a 3-month implementation time. But there are companies where we do phased approaches where we got them kicked off with sales, let's say, in 6 weeks, and then in the second 6 weeks, we did marketing or vice versa. So it really is a very specific to what your needs are question. And we do implementations that take 3 to 6 months as well, because some people want to implement the entire life cycle at once. So it really varies dependent on the company's requirements.
Okay. So anyone, if you want to also speak and ask a question, you can simply raise hand and I'll allow you to talk. But at the same time, like we have one more question, Suzanne. The participant is asking, how much time does it take for the implementation in Dynamics CRM? I think we covered this, but this question I think we did, Suzanne, already. How much time the implementation takes for Dynamics CRM?
So, I mean, I'll give one additional answer to that. There's a turnkey solution of just doing sales that we've frequently implemented in about 6 weeks.
Yeah, right.
Without customization. But
So
typically a combination is at least 3 months or more.
The next question, Suzanne, is like, with all the AI buzz and general functionality, how does Dynamics stack up against other CRM solutions like Salesforce? Can you like highlight something about it?
So Salesforce, I've also done many Salesforce implementations, and I'll tell you that Salesforce is written on a proprietary language called Apex, and you really need developers to do most everything for you. It's more of a good choice for companies that don't need as much customization, and it's much more expensive typically, because a Salesforce developer is minimally typically $250 an hour, and it costs much more to do an implementation, go live with it, and it's less. One of the beauties in Dynamics is once we get all your customizations done that you may need to make Dynamics meet your need, you are considered self-sufficient. You are able to manage it on your own. And Salesforce is less of an option in that realm as well. And Dynamics also seamlessly integrates with anything. There's a connector that you can use to integrate Dynamics with pretty much any other system you have. I even had a company once where the marketing department wanted Salesforce, and the sales department and the rest of the org wanted Dynamics, and we did a Dynamics integration to Salesforce. But overall, it's a more, again, the key word here is dynamic. It's a more dynamic, more easily adapted tool.
So I think, like Suzanne, we have like covered most of the questions, and if any, like, this is the last gateway that we are taking away the questions, and if we do not have, I think we're good ahead. So just like, I would like to say that if you want to discuss any like specific case, like the participants who are attending this webinar, you can like reach out to us, and we are more like, you are most welcome, and we'll sit together and try to consider all the challenges that you're facing, and we'll try to solve the problems. So thank you guys, thank you everyone, thank you Suzanne a lot for coming and joining us as a speaker for this webinar, and I hope you guys have got really powerful informations, and we look forward to connecting you guys again in our upcoming webinars that we have lined up. So that's all for this webinar. Once again, thank you, and have a good day, guys, ahead.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.